Welcome, everyone, back to more of Inside Arena Football. I'm your host, as always, joined by a special guest, Craig Peterson from Albany. How's 2021 been treating you?
2021 has been a lot better than 2020, that's for sure. Just still training, working, grinding, coaching, everything that I can possibly do to continue getting better at my craft. And, just enjoying life for the most part and just kicking footballs. So it's what I'm best at, and just continuing my dream.
Yes, I hear about you having the notoriety of being the best kicker in all of arena football. How would you say, how long did it take you to earn that moniker?
Years. When I first started, my whole career playing in Tampa Bay, my rookie season, I made a name for myself my rookie year. I wouldn't say, I got, rated the best arena football kicker as of right now because of that, but that's where it all started for me. I was trying to make a name for myself, go out there, make plays, do anything I possibly could on kickoffs. Instead of just making my field goals and extra points, I wanted to make an impact on the entire special teams game, which was including kickoffs, whether it was bar balls. I actually had a forced fumble my rookie year. I had a lot of big hits, and I think I had three, we call them kick sixes, where we hit the bar and our team recovers it for a touchdown. So just overall, just making a huge impact. I think I had maybe 7 or 8 onside kick recoveries as well my rookie year. So just try to do as many things as I could to, make a name for myself in the Arena Football League. And as everyone knows, the Arena Football League is the highest league of arena football. So with that being said, I just tried to make a name for myself and be the best kicker that I could be. Especially going up against, great names, other great arena football names or kicker names. So my second year was okay. It wasn't as good as my rookie year, but we had a lot of team changes within the Storm organization. We had a new quarterback. He was a rookie quarterback. So that year was tough, and then you just have to grind through those years where your team's not as good. So even though I had a great rookie season, my second year, wasn't the best. It was okay. But I knew I needed to improve on some things myself. So then I went to the Spokane Empire the year after. And I think that year for me, I knew that I could play like at any level. That was when I knew I was hitting the ball really well. I ended up going to the Zahner Combine, which is out in Arizona, Gary Zahner's, which is all the free agents in the country go there, the best free agents. And I did really well there. I actually had to take a game off with the Empire in order to compete with that. And I did really well. I got an invite to mini camp with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And at that point, I went up against guys like Sergio Castillo, Pat Clark, Alex Teixeira, Jordan Gay, who was with the Buffalo Bills. And I was the best guy there statistically. I had a great mini camp. They signed me about a week after that. So I was invited to training camp with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. It was me and Sergio Castillo were the best kids there. And they signed both of us to a contract to go to mini camp. And, that was when I knew I took my game to the next level. When I was in Spokane, I had some great games. At the point, I think I only played seven games with them before I left for training camp. But within those 7 games, I'm pretty sure I was ahead in points. I had the best field goal percentage out of any other kicker in the league. And, it was just time. It was time to go up to Canada and try to, get stuff done there. Unfortunately, Sergio, got the job over me. I don't think personally it was because of the talent. He had the experience. He definitely had the experience over me. And that's how it goes sometimes. Any kicker that's been in this game for a while, they know that you might get beat sometimes politically. And that's how it goes. And I'm okay with it. Yeah, I was a little upset because I had a good camp, but at the same time, man, I can't hang my head down low, and I got to keep my head high and keep kicking and getting better. And that's exactly what I did. I ended up signing with the Carolina Cobras in 2018. We won a National Arena League championship. I broke the previous kicker's deuce record. In fact, I shattered it with 30 deuces on the year. I think his was 21. And I got Special Teams Player of the Year that year. I was first team All NAL. Team just had a great year. I was number 1 in points on the team, number 3 in the league in points. Just had a great year. You know, that was when I even though I got released from training camp at the end, I knew that wasn't it. You know, because I knew I belonged at that level, if not the NFL. So 2018 happened. I went in there with my head held high, knowing I was going to have a good year, and just went out and balled out. And, I was prepared for it. I made sure I trained nonstop, kept my body in good shape. And, I was fortunate enough to win a championship with the Carolina Cobras. And that just kind of, it kept on the right track, trending upward. Every year I try to get better, every season. And after that, in 2019, I had a workout with the Atlanta Falcons. And that was when I finally broke into the NFL. And that workout went really well. Unfortunately, I didn't get invited to minicamp. That happens. And after that, I signed with the Columbus Destroyers back in the Arena Football League. And, I was fortunate enough to go up against a couple kids from Ohio State to get that job. And I prevailed. I was able to beat out 4 other kickers, I believe. Two kids went to Ohio State grads. And even though that team reminded me or that year, I should say, reminded me of that 2016 Tampa Bay Storm team, because we, again, had a rookie quarterback, which is very hard to win in the Arena Football League, having a rookie quarterback. That's just, that's basic math if you think about it. If you have a rookie quarterback, you got to learn the game, you got to get experience, and you're going to have growing pains. And we had that, but I was fortunate enough to, I guess, be put in situations during games where I had some really clutch kicks. And, I had some great bar balls. I actually had it was voted the biggest tackle in Arena Football League history by a kicker against Desmond Epps with the Washington Valor. And that's a moment I'll never forget, being on SportsCenter and CBS Sports top 10. Just it was an unreal feeling. Just the game in general was great. I had the longest field goal that same game out of any AFL kicker for that season. And I had the best field goal percentage out of any kicker that season as well. So it was a great game, a good year that I had personally. Our team didn't do so well, which is unfortunate, but you kind of have to roll with the punches, especially being a kicker. So you just got to get through it and prevail. And we all know what happened in 2020. I signed with the Massachusetts Pirates, and the season got canceled. And there's really nothing that I could do about that other than keep my body in shape and stay ready for the next opportunity. And that has now arisen, and we're here now back in Albany, back in my hometown, signed with the Albany Empire back in the NAL. So, I was trying to get into the spring league. And my agent's also been, just working around the clock, trying to get me into a training camp, hopefully coming up in August or September. And we're just going from there. Again, we're just rolling with the punches. We're going with it. We're staying ready for any opportunity coming my way.
We were talking earlier about the fact that you didn't get to play in high school or college. So what originally got you into arena football? Take us through that experience.
So football in general, arena football just started with me because it was an avenue. Arena football was an avenue I kind of had to take. When I first got into football, it was just a bet. It all started in Albany, actually, at Albany High, where I'm just watching a preseason football game with a bunch of my buddies, and the Jets kicker missed a 50-yard field goal. Long story short, I said I could hit a 50-yard field goal. These guys get paid millions of dollars. They called me out. We walked over to Albany High. I ended up hitting a 50-yard field goal. I ended up wanting to kick after that. That's a long story short. There's some details I left out in there, but that's the gist of it. And after that, I decided to get a kicking coach. I talked to a few friends first, and I was able to get hooked up with a kicking coach. He still is my coach to this day. We have a great relationship, and it just took off. It took off from there. And at that point, we kept pushing NFL. We went to those regional combines that they used to have for the NFL. They don't have them anymore. I went to a bunch of those. I would go to CFL tryouts, those open tryouts, anything I could go to get some exposure with any professional team. And then finally, I decided that Florida was the state that I would just move to on a whim, because that's where the most professional football teams are. And that was when you had, the Sharks, the Predators, the Storm, the Jaguars, the Dolphins, the Bucks. And then the CFL have their mini camps in Bradenton. So it was a no-brainer. And then I had a workout with the Tampa Bay Storm. I crushed it, and I got an invite to training camp. So it kind of just all started there, because it was, I'm not going to say it was easier, because it was hard. I had to beat out kids to get in, not only just to get into training camp, but then I had to beat someone out in training camp with Tampa. But with arena football, it was another avenue that I could take, or that I was able to take, I should say, than if the CFL didn't happen, which it wasn't. It just wasn't. The opportunities weren't there. Even though I was going to these workouts, I was doing very well, but I've got no experience at this point. So I needed to gain something, some kind of momentum to get into the football world. And arena football was my opportunity. And I was given that by Derek Brooks with the Tampa Bay Storm, and Lawrence Samuels, who was the head coach at the time. So I was very fortunate, very grateful to be able to be put in that position and given the opportunity.
Okay. Also, take us inside an arena football locker room. Like, give us what's been one of those funniest or memorable stories that you've had experience.
Well,
I guess whatever. I guess we'll add in that it could be PG, like if that's a concern.
There's so many stories. Just side note, it was so funny because I have no football stories, right? So my rookie year, I'm going in there. I've got no football stories. All these guys went to college. They played in college football. Some guys came from the NFL. Some guys came from the CFL. So it was everywhere. There's stories on stories on stories. And I got college stories, but no football stories. So the biggest story that rang a bell in my mind that we were listening to in the locker room was Carl Johnson. And for everyone who doesn't know who Carl Johnson is, he was drafted by the Saints, and he was the offensive lineman for Tim Tebow with the Florida Gators. And he won, I believe, 2 national championships with the Gators. So that's just to give you a little background on Carl Johnson. Funny guy, great guy. I'll never forget him. And he was just talking about these stories about Percy Harvin, Tim Tebow, and the Pouncey twins. And I can't go into detail, but just the way he talked about that kind of life, where just all the stuff that they get, and just being around all these celebrities and people. And this is my first year, it's my rookie year. I don't know what this is all about. I'm just learning as I go along. And I was like a sponge that year, just soaking everything up, just listening to guys talk about their college stories, their backgrounds, where they came from. And I really can't pick a specific story. Carl did have the best stories, I'm not going to lie. But I can't really pick just a significant story. There's just so many. And in the football world, and this, this business, it's just you make so many new friends. All these teammates that you meet new people, you make new friends for life. And it's like a fraternity. It's just like a fraternity. And I never was one in college. I wasn't in one in college, but it's like that. It's like that fraternity. And it's pretty cool. You make a lot of friends. And like I said, you have teammates and friends for life. and the stories that they tell, and then you make new stories because you're doing all this crazy stuff during the season, and then you meet up with your teammates in the off season, and it's you make some great memories and great friends. And I don't have one major story, but yeah, Carl with the money stories that he had and the things that they did, just it's unreal. It's unreal the kind of stories that these guys have, because you got to think about it. These Division I colleges, man, they party hard there.
And also, I would also point out, like, I've had a chance to meet Derek Brooks, a great guy. As would you say you've had overall overwhelming positive experiences with him?
Oh yeah. I actually do have a quick story with Derek Brooks. So it was going into our 2016 training camp, and Derek Brooks was giving a speech to the new team. It was our first day, and in the off season, Derek goes to the same LA Fitness that we go to. So Derek saw me putting up 225, just repping it out. And he saw me doing that. And, we talked to him because, Derek, like you said, Derek's a great guy. And he saw me doing that. And he ended up bringing it up in training camp, or that first day at camp, where he's telling guys, he's like, he was real with everybody. He's like, some of you will get cut. He's like, not everyone in this room is going to make this team. And he's like, we expect guys to work hard. We expect guys to give their all. And we expect guys to put their blood, sweat, and tears into this game if you want to make this team. And he's like, I saw the kicker in the offseason putting up 225. And he goes, you know what? Because this is how Derek Brooks is. He's just a competitor. He goes, you know what? I had to put on more weight when I was doing bench press, just so I didn't have the kicker show me up. So he's like, you need to go into that mentality knowing that you're going to do better than the next guy. And he just, so it was funny how he gave me a little shout out there, and he remembered that. But Derek Brooks, great guy, well-spoken. And he was a good president. He really was. He did a lot for us. He did a lot for me individually too. We had spoken, and I was able to kick at USF because he was good friends with Willie Taggart, who was the head coach at the time. And I was able to use the premises and the facility, the weight room, all that stuff at USF, just because he made a phone call for me to Willie Taggart saying, hey, listen, I got a kicker that's going to use the facility, don't give him any trouble or whatever. And he didn't have to do that, and he did. And I appreciate that. So, Derek Brooks, great guy, great character. And also as well as a good president too. So.
As you head into the season with Albany, how have you prepared for this season?
Well, everyone says there's an off season. There really isn't an off season. For us kickers, it's nonstop. It's a constant grind. And the reason it's like that, as long as you're trying to get to the next level, you have to be ready 100% of the time. You can get that call at any time. You can get that call to be brought in for a workout. So you can call it an off season, but you're still working. You know what I mean? You're still staying ready. You're still maintaining. You're trying to get stronger, obviously, but at the same time, you don't want to do too much where you're gonna, overexert yourself, but you also want to do enough where you keep that body mass on. And what I do personally is, I kick 2 to 3 days a week. I keep my mind and body fresh by working with kids and aspiring kickers out there that want to work with me. And, I do whatever I can to help them out, whether it's, doing one-on-one lessons, doing group sessions, doing the online sessions. Obviously, the whole COVID just messed everything up. So you still do online sessions and whatnot. And that keeps me fresh. That keeps my mind fresh. That keeps me into it. It's something I love doing. So it's really not work. It's something that I can do over and over and over again. And it doesn't get boring. It's something that I constantly find myself getting better at. And like I said, when I'm coaching, it's like I'm absorbing more by watching other people, but at the same time, I'm still learning. You know what I mean? I'm still learning about this. I'm still getting better. And I think that's the beauty of it. That's why I love doing it so much. It's a profession, yet it's something I love doing that I get paid for. And the possibilities are endless. The amount of lives that, I've been able to reach out to and people reaching out to me that's priceless to me. You can't put a price stamp on that. It's not or a price tag on that. It's just not something that, you can buy. It's just something that you learn, you gain more knowledge, and then you're able to, kind of give that out to other people. And for me, that's the greatest part about doing all this, that starting this journey that I've done and being able to give back so much that I have and continue to do that. And hopefully in the years to come, continuing to do that is priceless to me. That really is what gets me up, every day. So, the off season is great, but it's also great to be giving back and help others out. And like I said, it's me constantly getting better by coaching and me playing. And, I'm watching my own film too. I'm just not watching all these kids' film that I coach. It's watching my own film. And then, I see something in a part of a kid's kicking game that, I may not have seen before, and then I see it and then I'm like, okay. And then I'm looking at my film and it's like, okay, then I'll put it back to back and show them, be like, hey, listen, this is what we need to start doing. And I'll put little pointers up and, talk them through what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. And it's just a great way to keep my mind fresh and help other kids out at the same time. It's brilliant.
What would you say is some of the biggest differences in terms of preparation as playing on the road versus at home?
Playing on the road, it's funny. That was a learning curve for me, because I actually found it hard playing on the road my rookie year. The first couple games that I had away, I struggled a little bit, and you get used to it. That's something that comes with experience, because you're not used to people booing at you. You're not used to people talking crap to you, saying mean things about your family, your teammates, everything. It's crazy. Fans are ruthless, but that's what makes the game great. You know what I mean? That's the craziness between the game of football and fans. And that's why they love their teams. They're passionate, and you got to love that. So obviously, if you're the home team, it's the same thing for the other guys. So that's what's fun. But being able to experience that and then take it in and then use it to your advantage, I think that was the hardest part. And excuse me, a lot of 90% of a kicker's game is mental, right? So if you can get your mental game down and be consistent, not just consistent on the field, I'm saying consistent mentally, right? You can have mental breakdowns. That's when you see kickers really fold. They might miss 4 or 5 kicks in a game. That's too many. For me, that would be too many for me. If I miss 2 extra points or 2 kicks or a field goal, whatever, in a game, that's too many. That's too many. So you want to limit that. So if you're mentally prepared in any game, we're not just talking away games, we're talking home games too, because you still have to be mentally prepared. But the more mentally prepared you are, it's going to help you better in the away games, because then you can block all that out, right? The noise, the comments, just the lashing out, anything that happens, the score of the game. Some guys will let the score of the game affect the way that they play, and you can't do that, especially as a kicker, right? You cannot let the score of the game affect you. You still have to do your job and go out and perform. And that's something that I was able to learn just through experience. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled. My first few away games, I got used to it. And then, you can do things like, I do yoga and stuff. Mentally, you want to get your body prepared for stuff like that, and to be able to calm yourself, whether it's big pressure moments, because in your mind, mentally, they're not big pressure moments, right? It's just another kick. It's just another game. It's the championship game. It's just another game. You have to have that mindset as a kicker going in mentally, that you're just prepared for whatever it is that's going to come that game. Because guess what? Every game's different. No game is the same. And I think that's another reason why I love that about football is every game is different. And as long as you prepare the same for each game, even though it will be different, you're always going to be prepared.
that actually blends perfectly into the next question I was gonna ask. When it comes to like that mental aspect, is there any like pregame rituals that you're willing to share about what you use to stay focused going into a game?
Um, Pre-game rituals is, again, it's the same. It's still consistent. Go figure. Being a kicker, um, just try to keep everything consistent, right? I just go through my normal routines. So that's, I do my couple laps around the field. What I'll do is mentally and visually think about. I'll go to each extra point mark, and I'll just look, right? So I'll look, I'll envision the ball going through the uprights. I'll go to the other side, envision the ball going through the uprights. And then I go through a dynamic stretching routine that I do. And after that, I do some band work. And once I'm warm, I do some no steps. I'll do some one steps. And then I'll go ahead and I'll do some extra points on each side of the field. And I'll do extra points on one side, and then I'll back up. I'll switch the hashes up until usually about midfield, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side of the field. And after that, I'm usually done and I'm warm. I'm ready to go. I usually do hit a few kickoffs after that at the end, and then I'm ready to rock.
What would you say has changed the most, like with either your play style or preparation from year one to now?
So it's actually going to piggyback right off of how I just finished. So I used to do everything by myself until pregame, where you get with the whole team, and then you do your pregame stuff with the team. Now I get my holder and I get my snapper out right after I'm done with my extra points. So now when I go through, so now I'm ready. Now I've kicked extra points on each side of the field. I've kicked a couple of field goals on each side of the field. Now I bring in the snapper and I bring in my holder. So the three of us will then get together. We'll do a couple extra points. We'll do a couple field goals on each side of the field, and then we're ready to rock. So now that's another thing that I learned. That it's a matter of getting that cohesiveness right with the three of you, and get your special teams on point, because obviously the offensive linemen, they got to block anyways. They know what their job is. So you get the long snapper and you get your holder in, just the three of you. You get that kind of work in before the game. It just turns out to be a smoother game. That, for me at least. Some guys don't do it. That's just something that I've learned that's helped my game through the years.
Who would you say have been some of the coaches and players that have had the most impact on your football life?
Coaches and players?
Yeah.
Chris Hovan would definitely be one. Chris Hovan, for those who don't know, he played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a few years. He was also a two-time Pro Bowler with the Minnesota Vikings, and he was our defensive line coach with the Tampa Bay Storm. This guy was just, man, if there's one word I can sum up with Chris Hovan being coach, it's intense. And I loved that. He was so intense with the game, and people listen because he's done it before, right? He's been there. He's been at the highest level. And when he talked, I listened. And he always told me, when he saw me go and hit people, and like the forced fumble was like, I think my 5th game as a rookie, he was impressed. He was impressed. And then he always said, if for some reason I didn't hit the net on a kickoff, like if I hit a kickoff, he'd be like, you better be making that tackle. You better be making that tackle and make that play. And he was hard on me, but he knew that I had it in me to go out there and light people up on kickoffs. And, ever since then, that's when I always thought that I can make a difference in the game by setting the tone on the kickoffs. And he always told me this. I'll never forget. He goes, you are the first line of defense. Because we start to get, the kickoff's the first line of defense, right? Before our defense is even on the field, we kick off, we got to play defense for one play. So he always told me, you were the first line of defense, make a play. And I would try to make a play on every kickoff that I was in, every kickoff. So that's one person. Before I get too far in depth with that, another coach of mine is my kicking coach. He has been there through thick and thin with me since day one. He believed in me when nobody else did. Nobody thought I was going to be a professional football player. Nobody thought I was going to be able to be a good kicker. Nobody thought I would get to be as far as I am now, other than myself. I had a vision, and I had goals, and I was aspiring to be a professional football player, and I wasn't going to stop. And if there is anybody else that did believe that, it was my mom too. She's also been a huge impact in my life, and a role model for me. And Sam Watts is not only a great coach, he's a great person. He took me in when I had little to nothing. I had just graduated college. I had a job at the bank, and he saw something in me after 3 practices, I should say 3 sessions, and he thought I had it. He just thought I had the potential to be great. And I think that alone is just that speaks wonders, and just his character alone, and the way he treated me and the way he treats his kickers. It's just it's second to none. He's an amazing coach. He's the best kicking coach out there, I think. He sees things that I had never seen before in my kicking game. And now I've been able to implement those things and become the kicker that I am today. And I can only thank him for that. So I'd have to say him as well. And coaches, man. I mean, I could keep going down the list. I got a soccer coach, Steve Freeman, my track coach in college, Sharon Howell. Lauren Samuels gave me a shot, when I needed it the most to start my career. That was huge, just to be able to go out and play football and do something that I love and be able to show the world what I can do. Because if Lauren Samuels and Derek Brooks doesn't give me that chance, who knows what happens, So yeah, that's good. That's good. I can keep going. That's good.
Are there any specific goals you're hoping to accomplish in the rest of your career?
Of course. The NFL is so close. I feel that it's within grasp. Ever since the workout that I had and how well I did there with Atlanta, I just knew I belong. You know what I mean? I belong there. It's just about getting the opportunity to go into a camp and prove myself. And I've never kicked that. I mean, if you think about it, I've never kicked in a game outside. Just think about that. Think about that real quick. I've never kicked in a game outside on 18-foot uprights. I have only kicked on these tiny little uprights my entire career. Obviously other than training camps and mini camps. But just what? Just think about that. It boggles my mind, and I just feel like it's there, it's coming, and if not the NFL, at least the CFL. Let me get in a game. Let me show everybody what I could do outside, right? Not just inside. Everyone knows what I could do inside. How did we start this? How did I get the name, one of the best arena football kickers ever? It's because of what I've been doing inside, right? Let's try it. Let's get outside, man. Let me show everybody what I could do outside now after I've been able to show everybody what I can do inside. So it's coming. It's there. It's just there's always a little bit of luck involved, opportunity at the right time. The right GM's got to give me a chance, and you just got to stay ready.
Definitely, confidence is a good start there.
Say that again. You kind of cut out.
I'd say that confidence is another key part there too.
Yeah, yeah. As a kicker, as a professional athlete in general, I think, whether it's the NBA, NHL, NFL, you have to be confident in what you're doing as an athlete. And if you're not, that's when you start to have slumps, right? Because you lose that kind of confidence in yourself. And I've always said there's a fine line between being cocky and being confident. And some people get that, skewed, right? There's a fine line. Some people may, misinterpret that, as a person's confidence as cockiness, when in reality, that person is just confidence in what they do and what their abilities are as an athlete, right? So, going into, certain situations, I'm confident and, in talking about, what I can do, how I can do things. And I've shown that through my career. Listen, there's arrogant people out there. There's cocky people out there. I don't believe that I'm cocky. I believe that I'm confident in what I can do and what I've done in my career. But there's a fine line. You know what I mean? There is a fine line in being cocky and being confident. But I think confidence is a big part of being able to be successful at the professional level.
Could you see yourself like in a front office or a coaching role post playing days? If not, is there like anything specific that you're thinking like after your playing career?
Yeah, I have thought about that a little bit. Things run through your mind, when, the years go by and you're just like, because you want to be around the game, right? You want to stay involved. You want to keep doing what you're doing. You want to be able to give back, like I was talking about earlier. And I think the best way for me to do that is either, a D2 college, where I could be a special teams coordinator, but also be the kicking coach. So it's like that college that hires me is going to get like a 2-for-1 situation where they're getting a special teams coordinator in me, but they're also getting a kicking coach as well. You know what I mean? So I think that's valuable. I think that holds value, obviously, in terms of getting a job somewhere, whether it be at the professional level too, whether it's arena football, it'd be the same thing. That would be great too if it's still around. And I could be a special teams coordinator and also be the kicking coach as well. So, I mean, college would be ideal. There's obviously a lot more colleges out there. The opportunities are there, but you never know. Something could open and, the Arena Football League comes back if I'm not still playing, and maybe get a coaching position as a coordinator and a kicking coach as well.
Well, this has been a blast talking to you. Any closing thoughts before we finish up here?
I appreciate you having me on. I really do. Thank you for having me on here. I appreciate the time, and it's definitely good to be back in Albany, back in my hometown, being able to play in front of my friends, my family, and all the Empire fans. It's going to be an exciting year, and I'm pumped.
All right. I'm Hunter Williams, your host as always, and we had a great guest today with Craig Peterson from the Albany Empire.
Thanks, man.